the biggest news is, the biggest news from the Nets, well, of recent news is, the DM of Michael Rappaport and Kevin Durant, right? So obviously, if you haven't been made aware, right, the gist of it is, Michael Rappaport sends KD a DM talking about, his Charles Barkley interview with him giving a yes or no answer. Like, of it was the one of the most funniest and the most awkwardest moments for like NBA interviews that I've seen of recent, history. It was
There was talk about you coming back for the playoffs last year, so you really just been working on your game, trying to get back your timing and conditioning. Really, to be honest, correct?
Yeah. Come on, man.
so funny. And like this is the reaction. Like some good stuff. Alright, I mean, obviously, KD is the kind of guy who's how should I say this? He's a little bit more, I guess, influence from his peers. I guess, with Kyrie's issues with, the media and him and them misinterpreting his motives and messages. Now, granted, Kyrie, he doesn't do himself any favors when he takes, he does some things like he'll do some good, like donating some of his money to like the WNBA or something like that, and then on the next time he'll be like taking a break from like his actual job, the NBA, right? Just to like celebrate birthdays, right? So his sister's birthday, he said, "Oh, I'm taking a break for family issues," right? Nowhere, just ghosts the team, right? Ends up partying with his sister. So, that's the duality, right? Of Kyrie Irving. And, some of it's rubbing off of, I guess, Kevin Durant. Basically, KD fires back. I mean, a lot of this is private stuff, right? Private stuff that, you usually shoot the shit with, people you just talk, you just talk a shit. And you move on from there. I mean, come on, dude. Some of it was pretty funny, right? I mean, come on. KD's telling him to drink some man juice. You pasty ass. I mean, dude. He was grilling Michael Rappaport. Michael Rappaport's the kind of guy that, who's a front runner, right? I mean, he'll have time. He'll have all the fun of, roasting people, when it's not him that's receiving, the backlash, right? So when, KD drops the fire on him, easy publicity. Gets the views going, goes viral. Basically just ends whatever relationship, Kevin Durant and Michael Rappaport have between each other. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, this is some private stuff you're talking about. I mean, you can just hash it out, but now that you've shown the world what's going on, it's makes for interesting news, right? I mean, Kevin Durant said it best, right? This is why, I have more respect for Kevin Durant compared to people who just, apologize for his words, right? I mean, this guy didn't even apologize. Like, when the media asked him, like, hey, you have anything to say about this incident? It's like, I'm just sorry that you guys saw, right? Not necessarily saying I'm sorry, like, for, like, calling him, like, a man juice drinker and what.
What's your response to the reaction to the social media messages that were made public on social media?
I'm sorry that people seen that language I use. It's not really what I want people to see and hear from me. But hopefully I can move past it. And
Nervous, right? Guzzler. He's not saying all that. He's saying, I'm sorry you guys saw. Like that's like what I like to see, right? I mean, Kevin Durant's going full blown like, hey, like, I'm just a basketball player. I'm not a role model compared to, what you make me out to believe. And, in a sense, he's correct, right? I mean, once you put on a certain pedestal, right? You're asking a whole lot. I mean, Charles Barkley said it best, right? I'm not a role model.
I am not a role model. I'm not paid to be a role model. I am paid to wreak havoc on the basketball court. Parents should be role models.
I'm not here to raise your kids. I'm just here to play basketball, do my job, right? I'm not here to change the world. I'm just here to be, the best I can be at my occupation. And that's what Kevin Durant's, mindset is right now. Ironically, I mean, he doesn't really mess with Chuck right now, but he's acting a whole lot like Charles Barkley. And, I have more respect for that. I mean, you see a lot of these, Puritans, like, trying to say that, oh, it's like a homophobic slur and want to try, I don't know, get a cancellation on Kevin Durant or try to, have the league fine Kevin Durant. Look, the comparison of the situation of Kevin Durant and Myers Leonard shouldn't really be a comparison, right? I mean, Myers Leonard is basically streaming himself on Twitch and basically in a Call of Duty lobby. Now, if you guys don't even play Call of Duty or just even online games in general, right? I mean, come on, dude. Some of the most toxic, most fun times of playing games is the interaction in the chat. I mean, that's what's most fun of it. I don't know why do people want to turn everything into like emotionless, hey, let's everyone have some fun, no feelings hurt kind of thing. This utopian kind of mindset, it never works, right? It's always fun to interact with other people around the world, playing games, messing around, trolling. Because, at the end of the day, it ain't serious, right? We're just literally playing games, right? Whenever we're playing Call of Duty, people talk shit. Everyone playing Dota, people talk shit. League of Legends, Counter-Strike, any game, right? Y'all talk shit, right? Myers Leonard, he messed up saying, the slur, right? But he, in my opinion, like, he was trying to come up with something in the Call of Duty chat to trying to avoid, like, usually they avoid two, slurs, right? It's the N-word and it's the F-word, right? The homophobic slur, right? He was trying to avoid that, so he tried to, say what was on his next mind, right? He didn't want to say, bitch, or like, the usual common insults, right? He wanted to use one that hurt. But he messed up because, for one, the owner, is actually Jewish, and it's no bueno when you do stuff like that. So he messed up. While Kevin Durant, his stuff was private, and a lot of his stuff that he used was basically common insults, right? I mean, tell him to suck it, you little cocksucker, all that stuff he's saying. Like, those are just common insults that everyone says. Like, dude, even chicks say that. So it's like, what are you trying to say here? You're trying to elevate it into something that's not what it is. You're trying to blow it out to even proportion. I mean, it's obviously because, for one, he's like basically, one of the most popular NBA players as of today, right? Top 3 player, that's why Michael Rappaport is going on this, I'm on this moral high ground kind of take, where it's like, hey, look at this. This is the NBA's darling. What would you say on this? That person's representing you, the NBA, like, get your man and stuff like that. Like, first of all, that's basically some snitch stuff, right? I mean, yeah, come on, bro. That's kind of weak, dude. I mean, this dude's clowning like what, Takeshi 6ix9ine, I remember back then. And now here he is, basically, tattletaling to the NBA, like, hey, punish this guy. But at the same time, he's trying to boost up his, his podcast, his Instagram, He's getting interviews probably left and right of, you know, how the situation went down. I mean, this guy even admitted that he deleted some of the chats. So it's always like, there's always a certain motives when stuff like this happens. And honestly, like, we live in a world where things have gotten a little too PC, right? I mean, a lot of the political correctness and stuff like that. Like, hey, you can't use these words. Hey, that form of language is phobic. Like, all these buzzwords, right? Like, come on, like, growing up in a generation, like, I'm a millennial, so growing up in a generation of the millennials that grew up with stuff like, The Simpsons, like, Family Guy, South Park, right? Then there's the Chappelle Show. You got the Boondocks. You got Married with Children. Like, you can keep on going on all these shows and shows and shows that, that made fun of basically everyone, right? Like, all these shows, even the skit shows, right? With Living Color, Mad TV, all that stuff. Like, those are like stuff that I grew up on from my generation, right? Like, the irony is, like, that generation that was exposed to all that, all that quality of, like, hey, say what you will, you do whatever you want. Like, this is like funny stuff, right? I mean, it's nothing to be taken seriously, right? This is just in the pure sense for comedy and just for fun, right? Into basically the Puritans of, like, today, right? Where you can't say this, you can't say that, which is ironic. Like, when you think about it, like, all the people that kind of grew up in more of a conservative setting and have been basically, like, brought up in that kind of lifestyle, sheltered and whatnot, not exposed to all the fun things, right? They end up, spiraling into the more crazier lifestyles, right? Like, I mean, isn't there a quote with Gene Simmons of The Kiss, right? When he said that the most of the fun groupies were from Utah because of the conservative settings, and, like, all the Catholic girls are, like, the best. Certain, like, stuff like that, right? So now the kind of reverse is happening where it's like, oh, cancel this, cancel that. Like, we don't want this to be portraying, whatnot. I mean, people gotta walk around eggshells, and it just sucks, right? It just sucks. It just drops quality in comedy, and people don't want to see that kind of stuff. And I obviously don't want to see it. Like, in general, like, a lot of these social media stuff that happens where you see, like, a certain message is pushed, those people do not represent, the general mass. I mean, it's obviously the case. So, Kevin Durant, it was never a big deal. I mean, I found it hilarious. Like, dude, I was reading his DMs, like in his voice. Like, that's how I thought it was so funny. I was like, dude, like, never in the world would I have ever thought that, an NBA player would be saying, like, stuff like that to, like a comedian, right? Like, hey, you little cocksucker, like, your wife, you have waste your money on, your lawyers, your wife, something with your wife and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I mean, this guy, I'm pretty sure, like, Rappaport's he's the probably brought something up, which also brought, something out of Katie to mention that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, like, will he get fined? I hope not. I mean, that was like some funny ass stuff, dude. Like, more NBA players, should just stop, trying to, say everything's right? Just say what's on your mind, dude. I want to see what's the shit show that's in your head, dude. I mean, this guy's, like, living another reality compared to people like me and you. Living another reality. KD did nothing wrong. I mean, these guys are just finding, like, you're just bored, dude. Just finding something to get offended by. Like, how you get offended by that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. But that's the world we live in, right? It's just, nothing makes sense anymore. So it is what it is, I guess. But KD, dude, I hope he says more shit, dude.